afternoon, San Diego. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Real Talk San Diego, and I'm Claire McKee. We're here to bring you the business of life in America's finest city. As you know, this show is presented by our loyal partners at 5 Star Escrow and First American Title. And you know these guys, but I'm going to introduce them anyway. I have Bonnie Mantell. She's a family law attorney at Primus Family Law. Hi, Bon.
Hi, Claire.
How are you?
I'm good. It's a pleasure to be back.
My nails kind of match you a little bit.
They do.
Be
They
careful.
do in a way.
Be careful.
Be careful.
Yeah, well, the news today.
It's a scary world out there, folks. And to my left here is Dr. Michael Mantell. He is a transformational behavior coach. Hi,
Hi,
Michael.
nice to see you again.
Always a pleasure.
My pleasure.
We're about to have some fun. So
We are always.
I've got some new warm-up questions for you guys today.
Oh, yay.
I forgot. Yay.
All right, Bonnie, we're going straight through you right now. Ready? Favorite color?
Okay.
What's your favorite
just
color,
keep going.
Bonnie?
My favorite color's red.
What's your favorite holiday?
I would have to say it is Hanukkah.
Okay. What's your favorite food?
Lobster.
Favorite TV show?
Oh, gosh, I know what Michael's is, but mine is...
Why does she know yours?
I don't know. I want to know what it
I have a
is.
funny feeling I know what Michael's is.
You do?
Uh-huh. Curb.
Oh, for sure. Of course.
See? I
Yeah.
know that's his. I've never seen it. I believe that
too.
my favorite show would be Seinfeld.
That's a great
Oh,
one.
same thing. Same thing.
I don't know what Curb is, but what's your
Curb Your
favorite?
Enthusiasm.
I should watch that?
You
Oh,
should.
Definitely. If you like Seinfeld,
Yeah.
then you're a Larry David fan.
I've seen it.
Produced by Larry David.
It's on HBO.
Yes,
Yeah,
of
yeah,
course.
yeah. Got it. We're there.
It's-
I've seen it.
Glad
Like
we're
it.
plugging in.
If my
Yeah.
phone goes off, you'll hear the theme song.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get your phone over here. Let's have somebody call you. What's your favorite car?
Oh, it is a Mercedes,
What kind?
an SLK 250.
All right. And what about your favorite thing to do in San Diego?
Oh, you in San Diego?
Do you have some elsewhere? Should we broaden the
Anywhere else.
horizons? What is your favorite thing to do?
It's not ski
Okay.
in San Diego.
Oh, so you do like to ski,
I do
just
like
not
to
here.
ski.
Got it. I have no talent in that regard. What's your favorite color, Michael?
Well, it was purple for a long time. And
Regal.
everything I owned was purple.
Oy.
This year, Pantone came out and said the color for 2018 is purple. It's so yesterday.
Oh my God.
It's so yesterday. Honestly, everything I had was purple.
So last year.
So my new favorite color is light blue and orange.
Together.
Yes, absolutely.
What about your favorite holiday?
Oh boy. Well, I got to tell you, I like the Christmas season, but I happen to like Hanukkah a great deal.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's fair.
We'll accept the answer.
Okay, thank
we'll
you.
allow it.
Thank you.
What about your favorite food?
Italian.
Favorite TV show?
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Favorite car?
Probably the Mercedes. Which one?
Yeah.
The convertible 550 convertible.
Now, are we
Ha-
talking AMGs? That's what I really
No,
need to
no,
know.
no, no, no.
It's
You-
okay.
What do you mean no?
No, I
No.
just had the no AMG.
No,
You
no.
hear those things growl? She shushed me.
Stop.
What's up, Derek
AMG
Evans?
always means guilt.
We love you back. Last question.
Yes.
What's your favorite thing to do?
A-
San Diego or in
anything,
general?
anything with my wife Paula, wherever we go. We could go shopping, which our kids always make fun of us because that's what we do a lot. But we can go.
Hold up your wrist. Show. Look at this. Do we see the coordination here?
There we go.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't take him anywhere.
I can't do it.
He's more girl than me.
Yeah, Hermes, that's what they do. So wait, but we also like to walk on the beach. We love to go to the Hotel Del,
Yeah. Beautiful.
and we love going out for dinner. It's kind of boring, I think.
No, that's amazing.
But that's
And
what we like to do.
You just said like whatever you're doing
Yeah.
together and you have a great time.
But
so.
the other thing is, next week we're celebrating 46 years of being married.
Wow.
51 years together.
Wow.
So
Congrats.
it's a good thing I can still say that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Especially when we're talking about divorce.
Especially.
Well, and on that topic, like it takes work, right? Like I'm sure it wasn't all sunshine and butterflies all the time.
Oh,
and you're going
absolutely.
shopping and, yeah.
This is where we
Butterflies.
reach out and kill you.
Right. Bonnie knows my wife, so no, of
Hi,
course.
Paula, by the way, if you're watching.
Hi, Paula.
Yes, high five. So of course it's work. And it isn't so much about love as much as it is about being one's best friend, truly the person you tell everything to first, the one you turn to first, the one you know everything about, the one that you show admiration and respect as well as affection to, the one you work through every problem with. You have meaningful rituals that you share. That's what it takes to be able to make it all work.
That commitment, right?
It is commitment. It's a commitment that is, we're going to be together for 100 years, and we do it one day after another.
What are you going to do for your 50th is what I really want to know. You got to do it big. Like, you got to go somewhere.
I don't know. Maybe we'll probably wind up being here. Maybe I don't know. We'll
do a 50th anniversary
there you
show.
go. 50th anniversary show. Not bad. I suspect a trip to Italy or something like that.
Fantastic.
No, she's not watching, so I can say that. But no, I think that's probably what is in the future.
Don't give away your secrets,
No, no.
Michael. Well, guys, we're just getting started, but you know the drill. If you like what you see, be sure to click follow on our live feed so you can be notified every time we go live. And because we're on Facebook Live, we get to interact with you, our audience. So drop us a comment, ask us questions, and we will be happy to give you a shout out and answer them live. So today we're going to be talking about the holiday season. Can the holidays really save your marriage, right? Is that even possible? And so I want to start out, Michael. What's the harmful thinking that is occurring in the person's head who is saying, I'm going to call Bonnie, or I'm going to call a family law attorney, I'm ready to get divorced?
Well, there's a number of thoughts that one has when they decide to make the first call. They may be significantly depressed. They're thinking about everything they're losing. They may be terribly anxious. They're making predictions about how horrible and awful and terrible life is going to be. They may be enraged with anger. This must not be taking place. So those three emotions, depression, anger, and anxiety, certainly come through the first phone call. But the belief that it must be a certain way, that Bonnie or Tiffany, when they call their office, they must solve this divorce in the simplest, cheapest, most inexpensive way possible. And that demand, that expectation, insisting, that's really harmful.
What I find is when they first call me, there's a lot of trying to make them feel, okay, you can relax. Yes, there's a lot of things that are going to happen. There are a lot of things that are going to change. But my job is to kind of immediately try to take a little bit of that pressure off of them. We can handle this. You won't have to think about this as much. You won't have to do this. We will take it over. Yes, you're going to have to participate and work with us, but we're going to take the brunt of the legwork on it. And usually in that initial phone conversation, it's, you should think about finding yourself a therapist or a life coach, because this is a large change, a large transition for you and your family, and nobody expects you to have all the answers immediately or be able to go it alone, but we're there to help take some of that off your plate. What do I do about this, and where do I find this, and what about that? And they come to us with 1,000 questions, and in that initial consultation, they want an answer. And you can't really give them an answer because you have nothing in front of you.
Right.
You have their version of the facts,
Right.
but not necessarily the facts. And the facts are what drive my side of it, while still trying to manage their expectations
Right.
and their emotions. So it's, it's that full service. So usually within that first, 30-minute free phone consultation, I've tried to talk them off a ledge and given them a little bit of a way forward, a few tasks that they can do while making this decision, so it makes them feel productive and still able to move forward. Look, I can do this. Just get me your latest pay stub. Okay, something simple that they can do that allows them to feel, yes, I can do this.
Breaking it down and also setting the expectation.
Absolutely.
Right?
But can I ask a question? When you hear that first call, I imagine that you are talking to someone who either thinks he or she is a victim, right, or justified in wanting to get out of that marriage. But oftentimes they don't feel like they can control anything, and they want some control. So when you give them that task, one or two tasks, they have something they can begin to feel I can
Yes,
control this.
that does happen. We do get a lot of people who feel like they don't know what's going on in the house. They're not the ones paying the bills.
Sure.
They don't run the finances. You may have someone who's the stay-at-home parent and the other one is the working parent, and the working parent sometimes is also the one who does all the finances. So you have one person who doesn't know what's going on and then feels like they're at a disadvantage. Usually the information is around. Usually the information's at home in a file cabinet or in a desk drawer,
Right.
or online or at the bank. I mean, so there's a lot of ways for people to be proactive while still, not being deceptive or sneaky,
Right.
just proactive, finding out their information. I also get a lot of people who come fully prepared. They've already found all the documents. They will call with that initial conversation with, well, this is what I found, this is what it is, and I just want to know what I'm entitled to. What would the numbers look like? And it's just a matter of reassuring them that if they, for example, they're the ones who want to move out of the house. They want to move out because they can't get along, they don't want the children to suffer while they argue. And often the question I get is, well, if I move out, I'm told I've abandoned the house. That's not true. That doesn't happen. You can leave.
Right.
You still have, that house is still your house.
Right.
Your children are still your
You
children.
probably
Sure.
have a list of, I don't know how many dozen erroneous assumptions that people make before they call. I'm going to lose everything. I'm going to lose control of my kid. You must have a list of those things.
I don't actually, I have a list from
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But what I find interesting is the information they are given by their spouse. Well,
Why
this
are
is
you
what's
listening
going
to
to
them?
happen.
Right,
Like,
all the people.
This is
from
all
what's
the
going to
people.
happen. If you leave the house, you're going to lose the house. If you leave the children, I'm going to get... No, stop listening to your spouse, who you're going to divorce, and definitely stop listening to your friends.
Right.
Because every case is completely different. Every set of facts, while the underlying issues are the same, custody, visitation, support, division of assets, pension, retirement, the facts are slightly different. So while one person, well, I got this, good for you.
Yeah.
I would add, don't listen to your fears, your anxieties, your worries, because that's talking you into a rut. It's creating it's like, I call it a limiting belief. It's holding you back. And if you believe too much of that stuff, you're going to live in fear and never be able to move forward. And even question the professional wisdom of the attorney. Well, I heard this, and you're the expert.
Well, that's what I was gonna
actually
say.
don't mind that, because I'd rather them come to me and say, I heard this, and at least have me explain why either it doesn't apply to their situation, or, okay, let's see how we can make something like that work for your situation, than completely not have them ask. I often say to my clients or potential clients, ask the questions. Instead of just ruminating about it or
Yeah.
thinking about it and worrying about it, send me an email. Ask me a dozen questions. I'll answer them.
Sure.
Those that are completely irrelevant, or for lack of a better word, nonsensical, I will tell you, don't worry about this. This is not part of your situation. I also have people who tell me they're afraid to ask questions because they're afraid they're going to be billed too much. If you're dealing with a reasonable attorney like you will with our office, we know how to manage that.
Yeah.
You can send us an email with 12 or 13 questions. We can answer that rather than spending, 35 minutes on the phone talking about and going back and forth.
Sure.
So there are ways that we can use your time and our time productively so that you get all of your answers that you need, so that you understand the process going forward.
I'm glad you brought that up, because you want to be proactive, you want to be productive. I'm sure people do their fair amount of research before they talk to you. The internet can be a scary place, right?
And an erroneous place.
But when people make that first call to you, what do they need to know? Or maybe what are some things that they should be thinking about?
They should be thinking about, finding the last 12 months of bank statements. They should be thinking about making sure they have records of pay. They should be thinking about, do I have at least the last quarterly statement of any retirement? If your house, if the title of the house is in dispute, is it my house there? It's not that hard to find a deed. Those are the kind of things, the basic things. They should think about what they really must have out of the household furniture and furnishings. we had talked once before about it being evaluated at garage sale value. That's truly garage sale value. So how much do you want to pay your attorney to argue over the $3 forks and the, I mean,
Right.
come on.
Right.
So there's that kind of thing. What do I really want? Well, grandma's rug is at Uncle, I want grandma's rug. Go get it.
Sure. But know that on the front end. Start thinking
Exactly.
about this so we're not fighting over pennies.
Right. So that we're not spending thousands of dollars to fight over pennies, because that does actually frustrate good attorneys. We don't want
Right.
to spend your kids' college money fighting over pennies
It's a waste of everyone's time, quite frankly.
and your kids' college money.
Right. So let's back it up a little bit. I want to talk about the psychology for when they do call you. Are people just up in arms sometimes, like on the phone? They're flipping out like the world is ending?
Yep.
How do you manage that?
Calmly. You just have to, really talk them off the ledge. It's a matter of experience. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a coach, but I play one every day.
Well, it impacts the whole
Well,
experience,
yeah,
right?
because someone who calls in a panic is usually because they're in a panic from lack of information. So once you can give them a method to obtain information, it empowers them. Once you've empowered them, a lot of the panic goes away.
And then the negative thoughts can subside as well.
Right, exactly. So when I make a referral to Bonnie or Tiffany, and I say, okay, look, it sounds like you've made the decision. You're going to divorce. Okay, you are loaded with questions, and you're already now on separate sides. You're like two warriors ready to go at it. Imagine if you came at this in a cooperative way, in an agreeable way. You probably agree on more things than you disagree. When you make that call, why don't you talk or focus on what you agree on? Here's where we are. We need help in where we disagree, where we see it differently. You don't get many calls like that, but a good therapist or a good coach who's working with a couple, guiding them through the process, would be very wise to emphasize what do they agree on, as opposed, they'll find plenty that they're in conflict about.
That's the easy part, right?
Well, what's funny is, Dr. Mantell saying that if they could call and tell you what they agree on, we get a lot of that. We usually get one side who says, oh yes, we've come to an agreement.
Oh.
And we kind of chuckle. I chuckle just saying it because I know the person calling certainly thinks there's an agreement, because that agreement tends to benefit them.
Benefits them.
So I always have to say it's an agreement until it's not an agreement.
Right.
Until something gets filed, until they see it on paper.
Yeah.
Nothing's done until it's done. And that goes for your divorce as well. Just because you file for divorce doesn't mean it has to go to divorce. There's a whole long process along the way that you can stop the process. Nobody's going to force you to get divorced. So you can file your petition. I've had people go all the way to the day that we had a judgment. The judgment was being submitted and they're running down the hallway going, no.
Really?
I'll tell you a technique that I've used with lots of couples over the last several decades. It seems like the two of you believe divorce is imminent, but I don't get the sense that you both really want this. I'm going to suggest you file. You now have 6 months before it's final?
Yeah,
Something
sort
like
of.
that. Right. Now the clock starts running. So you have a little bit of pressure behind you to decide, am I going to make this work?
Right.
You know how many times it actually turns into a divorce? Over the many, many, many times I've done that? Very few. Because they have the clock running. They really don't want that. No, I don't use that with everybody. It's a decision.
It's a tactic, unfortunately, but I can understand the benefit. I can also understand the harm is that, it clogs up the system. Looking at it from my end, you have people filing who don't mean it. It's a ploy. Well, if you give me this, I'll pull it. That may not always be the best way to do things. But still, what I find is that when they come to me and they're ready to file, they want to hear that they're going to be okay. And funny enough, because Michael and I are obviously, friends and we work together, a lot of the things I've learned or heard him say, I'm trying to employ the way to ask the question properly.
Right.
So that I can help the client not feel like they're being put upon. It's, how is this going to be better for you if we go this road or if we go that road? And trying to focus on that instead of, getting the other side, or you know,
Weigh the options, right? Pros and cons. What are we looking at here?
what are we looking, and how do we achieve what you need to be done with the least amount of scarring?
At the end of it, you said something so profound and it just slipped through. People want to know I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
Now, there's two kinds of thinkers. There are those that want the pat in the head and the reassurance, I'm going to be okay. I am going to be okay? Yes? Okay. Whew. And then there's the varsity thinker. That's the JV thinker. The varsity thinker says, I don't know if I'm going to be okay. I really don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. Whether it works this way or doesn't work this way, at the end of it, I will be okay. I may not like the outcome, but I will be okay. That takes a tremendous amount of healthy thinking, mature thinking. But regardless, we all want to be told it's going to be okay.
And I wish they would do that with their children, because that's where I think the kids' focus is. Are we going to be okay? And if more parents would say, look, Mom and Dad, you know, we all know Mom and Dad love you, and it's not your fault. We've all heard that platitude, right? That's been
Mommy's going to be your mommy,
Daddy's
going to be your
daddy. But what we're not telling them is, yes, it is going to change. It's not going to be the same. It can't be.
Right.
But you're still going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's
just
going to be different.
And we do hear horror, and I'm going to use the word horror stories, from people, even adults, who look back at their childhood and describe that divorce as the most disruptive, upturning event that they could ever imagine. And they harbor for their whole life anger, resentment, hate for what their parents, quote, did to them, instead of understanding this simple little piece of wisdom. Only you are responsible for how you feel. We're never made to feel one way or another by outside events. Does what happens in a divorce program us, in a sense, program our computers to react one way or another? Absolutely. But at some point you realize it's up to me.
You're in complete control.
Absolutely.
Because the link isn't what you think.
You read my book. Oh
And-
my goodness.
And it's also the fact that they take that into their own. So let's say when they're getting divorced and they've got all this built up toxins from whatever their parents divorced, well, that can sometimes lead to, well, I'm just going to roll over and give in everything because I don't want to fight. Or I'm going to fight as hard as I can because I don't want what happened to A to happen to me. And either way, that creates more tension than might otherwise be. So, you know, you have situations where, and people don't realize that they're doing this to the little people in the middle. They don't realize it because they get caught up in their own.
Yeah.
You know, you have two people who are married, they break up, and in this world, we find others. So we have now significant others who become either girlfriends or step-parents or whatever. And then what we see sometimes happens is mommy doesn't really know dad's new girlfriend or new wife, or doesn't like it, or does know, or whatever, won't accept. It doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter what the reason is. It's just happening.
It is.
And then tells the kids, well, little Johnny, you can't call Tracy mom or stepmom, or I don't want to hear her name in this house, or you're not allowed to tell us what's going on over there. Imagine little Johnny now. Little Johnny is stuck in between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
He goes over to dad's house. He really likes new girlfriend. Doesn't mean it replaces mom, but he likes this person. Not allowed to like
You're
this
going to
person.
punish him for that?
You don't punish him per se, but you do.
Right.
Because you're not allowed to talk about it, we're not allowed to discuss it, we're not allowed to share it, we're not allowed to know. I don't want to know that you had fun over there. So Johnny goes over here, he has a good time, he comes home, can't talk about it.
Feels guilty about the good time.
Absolutely. And then, even if you don't have it going the other way, chances are, well, if I can't talk about what's going on over here, over there, I'm certainly not going to talk about what's going on over here, over there, because somebody's going to be upset.
Right. What a horrible place to put your kids.
It
And
is.
they don't,
Sad.
and I really believe the parents don't realize they're doing this. It is not always done maliciously. It's not always done with, but it's done.
Yeah.
What I tell parents who do that is, when you take the arrow and you want to shoot it into the heart of your soon-to-be ex-spouse, remember, it always goes through the child first. Always.
That's a good point.
It never, ever escapes the child. First, it injures the child, and whatever forces are left over, then maybe it'll hurt the other adult.
I mean, let's look at the holiday season. Okay, so you have two families now, right?
Yeah.
This kid has two houses, two families, which invariably means 2 Christmases or 2 Hanukkahs, which you would think is the most amazing thing in the world, right? I mean, how much more happier can you be than having 2 Christmases?
On paper, that sounds nice, right?
Until it actually happens. When they get up, they have to get up Christmas Day at 9 a.m. because they have to go to the other parent, and then there's stress and tension, but I want to play with my toys here, I want to go there. Come on, parents. Remember, this holiday season is really so much less about you. It has to be about those little people first.
And I think that almost comes back to the it's going to be okay, because I think that the reason that's pushed onto the children and the kids are wondering, is it going to be okay, is because the parents don't know that it's going to be okay.
Right.
Especially that first holiday. That one sets the tone, really. You know that as time goes on, time heals all wounds, and eventually they'll get to a place of hopeful indifference with each other's households. But that first couple of holidays, how you approach that can set the tone for this kid and for the rest of the relationship.
So what do you suggest? Maybe what are some things that people could do to maintain some normalcy?
A little bit more flexibility. You know, yes, the court order may say that the exchange is at 10, but if your kid is asleep and got up later and maybe wants to play, maybe a little bit of flexibility. So you conduct the exchange at 12. Oh my God, I lost 2 hours. You lost 2 hours. Your child lost nothing.
Gains.
And your child gains the peace of mind. And then so you get your kid at 12 and little Johnny has Christmas at noon and doesn't know any different. There's been no trauma that morning. What could possibly be better than that? So it has to go both ways, but flexibility would be really, really a lot better
Goes a long
than
way, right?
rigid adherence to what is considered. Even a judge will tell you, if you guys want to modify this, go ahead. This is your default. If you can't agree, we go back to this.
The police aren't going to be on your doorstep like, you're swapping 2 hours late.
Unless somebody calls them.
Yeah. Sean Torley liked your analogy.
Thank you, Sean.
He said he
Appreciate
never
that.
thought of it that way. Thanks for
I'm
the
glad
comment.
I could share that with you then. That's
Cool.
very kind of him.
So I'm interested, Bonnie. You said sometimes people file for divorce and that day comes and it doesn't happen. They change their mind. Talk to me about that experience a little bit. How do people get to that point? What changes between A and B?
We usually never know.
It's
Usually it's either they've gone to a life coach and worked out whatever different, or are willing to work out whatever differences they have, or they've decided that they sometimes can't afford it, or it's not like they come to the attorney and have that conversation because we're not your therapists.
Sure.
So
You just say, okay, lovely.
Yes.
Congratulations.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Do you find maybe
file.
the holidays bring people together? Like an epiphany almost? Like, oh yeah, this is what it's all about.
Both ways.
Yeah?
I mean,
yeah.
usually December is not the time people are actually filing documents. It's really hard to serve because when you file, you have to serve them. You're not going to serve somebody around the holidays. I mean, it's just not human nature. I think more human nature is we're going to stick it out, get through the holidays, make it a nice holiday for the children, and then we'll deal with our issues in January. I also have a lot of other people who, right before the holidays, I'm not doing this. I'm not putting my kids through the fighting and
Can't
the
do it
arguing.
one more
and
time.
It's depends how toxic your situation is.
I was going to say that when a couple can make that mutual agreement, especially in December, we're going to divorce. But you know what? Let's not do it right now over the holidays. Let's wait till January. And I imagine January is a busy time.
You'd be after the holiday bills are paid for.
Yeah. So, okay. So,
So February.
August.
August.
So February.
February. Right. But if a couple is willing to make a mutual agreement for the sake of the kids, let's make sure that there's no arguing at this time. We're going to file in January, February, whatever, March, whatever it may be, but let's agree this holiday season should be a peaceful one. Let's agree to not discuss divorce with anyone until after the holiday. Because once our neighbor knows about it, their kid hears about it, and they tell the little kid, hey, your mommy and daddy getting, mommy, are you get? So the second big agreement that's very important is let's keep this between us. And the third thing is to maintain as many normal holiday behaviors as you possibly can. Now here's the thing. If a couple is willing to do that, and they have that mindset going into a filing, don't you think that perhaps the kids have a better chance of coming through this than if a couple can't tolerate being together and they dump everything on the kids during the holidays? They don't care about those children. They care about themselves. I understand that you have to make time for yourself. You can't be, attached at the hip. So you need time alone. Where's daddy going? Where's mommy going? Well, it's a busy time and everyone needs to take time out and, go for a run or go away for a night just to catch your breath. And we understand that, and we wish mommy or daddy have fun. Kids need to see that. That sets a great tone. It also gives a chance for parents to think about a new beginning. So I know I'm getting divorced at the end of this holiday season. Let me start setting some new traditions. Kids, mommy's going to take everyone ice skating today. Hey kids, daddy's taking everyone to the zoo, and it's going to be a new holiday tradition. Why can't mommy go? Because daddy wants to spend time with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that becomes another key issue.
Think about it on the forefront, so then when the next year comes and you are split, it just seems more normal.
It's exactly, we have a new holiday tradition. The other thing is this idea of like positive attitude. And it's not.
Get out.
Yeah,
What?
really. Can you imagine me saying that? But think about
Life
this.
coaches.
That many people grieve over the holidays. For lots of people, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, these are very stressful times. They're not. We make them that way, but I don't get into that discussion. But think about this. Grieving over what used to be, what I used to have in my family. For some, you're reminded of the fact that, yeah, the day before Christmas, my parents told us they're getting divorced. What are you doing to a child? Let's wait a couple of weeks. So I think that you can look at this and say, this is a new chapter in my life. It's going to be good. Let me find a reason to celebrate the decision we've made, and we're adult enough to be able to postpone it. And the last thing is, as you said earlier, this preparation. We've decided we're divorcing January, February. I'm going to use this time now to prepare. I'm going to get my records. I'm going to start looking for an apartment now. I'm not taking the kids with me to do that, but quietly. I think if parents go into this season with that decision, with these behaviors, psychologically, that mindset will prepare them for a much healthier phone call when they finally make that call.
Absolutely. I mean, just the idea of deciding, if you know you're going to get divorced, a lot of the problem is, well, I don't have a place to be and my kids can't stay overnight, and it becomes chaotic. If you've already got some idea of, even if it's not everybody can, afford a second rent. So, okay, I'm going to spend this time at my parents or at my friends, and we've set up a room, and I have a space for my children. It becomes normalized for them. It is not about the chaotic, what's going on and where we are, and that causes anxiety for the children. It causes anxiety for the adults because you want to provide, but it causes anxiety for the kids. So if you have it planned, it's easier for them.
And you. It's
And
easier
then
for everyone.
and it makes it easier for them to say, no, I want to spend time with dad because dad's got a place, or I want to spend time with mom because mom's got a place. Versus, well, no, I need to be in my own bed. That's a lot of what we hear is, well, I don't want the children over there because this is their home. No.
They have two
They
homes
have
now.
two homes now.
That's the
Bonnie, I have a
reality.
question. So let's suppose a couple can do these kinds of things. Do they still need a divorce attorney?
Yes. Of course they do. Not because,
Tell Sean why.
Tell Sean why. He asked the question.
He said if only people who are divorcing could think that way, there may no longer be a need for divorce attorneys.
well, there would be because, thanks, Sean.
Appreciate that. Go back to the
Appreciate that,
analogy.
Sean. Who pays your bills? Because there's a lot of documentation. There's still a process. There's still a way to do this right. Because it can be stressful in itself just going through the legalities, which, you know, if I need surgery, I'm not doing it on myself.
Yeah.
I may be capable of it. I know how to use a knife and a thread
That's a scary
and some
thought.
needles, but I'm not doing surgery.
Right.
You go to a professional.
Right.
And it does relieve some of the stress for you.
Well, and back to the point you mentioned earlier, you have an agreement until you don't. So if it's not in writing, if the papers aren't there to support it, then where do we find ourselves?
Right. And so you still, there's still homework that needs to be done. I mean, Dr. Mantel mentioned that's 6 months. There's still homework that needs to be done. So what we try to do is when somebody comes and hires us, we have a folder for them. We have a folder with their homework, a general letter of welcome, and also a letter of explanation, a detailed instructions on how to fill out the homework. So right away they're given tasks and the way to do it and the numbers they can call us to reach if they have questions, but it starts them on the process of looking for the things and being proactive in their own future.
They still have disagreements. They still have decisions to make. She wants this, he wants this, he doesn't want to give her this, she doesn't want to give him this. Being able to discuss that in a healthy way, which is rare, it's rare, is one thing. But still you need the professional to say, here's the legal issues here. And
your entitlements and your rights.
Right, and those need to be protected. And it's great if you can talk about those things in a healthy, reasonably healthy way, but you still need someone to help you protect your own rights. The other point is, what I was referring to is as much focused on the children. You and I have tremendous disagreement. I hate your guts. You cheated on me. You lied to me. You did this. You did that. You never were. You always did. Whatever that may be.
Michael, I wouldn't do that to you.
But honey, but when it comes to this, it's one thing. Okay, but we brought those two kids into the world. We may hate each other, but we both love those children. And what we have to do in this divorce is find a way to put our focus on what's best for them. What's in the best interest of the children is a legal standard.
And that is the standard that we follow for everything. I mean, a lot of people call me and go, well, isn't the standard in California joint custody equal to, no, there is no equal. It is the best interest of the children. If the best interest of the children says he gets supervised visitation, that's the best interest of the children. If the best interest says 50-50, great. But we're going to focus on what's in the best interest of the children. So should you.
Right. I mean, parenting, that's got to be
duty.
as selfless as it gets. Don't forget that.
You actually have a duty to those little people, a legal duty to support both emotionally and financially.
And it's very difficult if you are enraged, if you're depressed, if you're anxious, to be able to get past yourself, even to take care of your own children. It's very difficult, and that's why I think wise attorneys do make referrals for emotional support and some counseling or coaching to help people understand, look what I'm doing to myself. I'm making myself miserable, but the bigger picture also is, I can't be of help to them. Let's try an experiment. Make a fist. Okay. Tell me, besides punching me, what you can do with that fist. Well, you can't do a lot with a closed...
I'm like, do you want me to answer that?
Yes.
You don't, because I know exactly where she's going.
You don't want...
You so don't want her to answer the question.
OMG. All right, whatever. Make the fist. We'll go somewhere else then. So you can't do a lot with a closed fist.
Not much. A couple of things.
But when your mind is cramped this tight, you can't take care of those children because all you care about is what's in here. Loosen your fist. You can do a whole lot more. Be quiet. You can do a whole lot more. Now you have the ability, the flexibility, the resilience, the openness to be able to take care of children, to give of something besides yourself.
You're not tight and rigid.
But it's also when you're that way, look at what your children are seeing. Is that how you want them to model that behavior?
When someone is like that angry, they're not thinking that.
Right.
Now, Sean will probably weigh in with Dr. Mantel. That was another good analogy. I never thought of that either.
Was that a good one, Sean? Let us know. But I want to come back to what you were saying in that we're in control of how we think, and it doesn't necessarily only have to be in situations of divorce. And you actually have a retreat coming up focused on healthy relationships and controlling what you're thinking.
Right,
Right.
February 20, she did that very well. February 22nd to February 25th at Red Mountain Resort in St. George, Utah. It's called Retreats Unlimited. That's the website. It's on my Facebook page. It's all over my Facebook page. And yeah, people are going to come from Thursday to Sunday. They're going to be taking some in the spa time. They're taking great hikes, work out with tremendous fitness pros, eat the healthiest food on the planet, and have several lectures from me about this very topic. How can we locate and loosen our mental obstacles? How do we free ourselves so we're not walking around with a cramped mind, but with an open focus on life? I think it's going to be a great retreat. I hope you are going to be bringing the whole staff.
Bring some of my cards.
It's going to be a party. Yeah.
Aren't you coming? Yeah, of course you are.
I'm not really, because it's in between volleyball tournament 1 and volleyball tournament 2.
Parent who cares about her child.
That's what I was going to say. Prime example here.
Exactly.
Let the child.
Absolutely.
bet.
I would rather watch my daughter play volleyball than anything else.
Love it. The other thing we want to make sure we mention, Michael, is the link is what you think is out. It's on Amazon.
Yes, and I see Sean also noted that too.
He needs to write a book of practical life analogies. I think I've heard something about that, you know?
I think you have a copy.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we can put it up, but in any case,
Nobody wants me to write a book.
It's on Amazon right now. The link is what you think, and I would love everyone to buy a copy as a holiday gift, especially for people who are going through tough times. It will be a mind-opening experience. There's tips on every page for improving your well-being, your health, your relationships, life.
Who doesn't need that? We can all use a little
There's
improvement,
several
right?
copies in my office for those who want to borrow.
Hey, there
We
you
have
go.
a library takeout policy for our
Sign it
clients.
out. So stop by Bonnie's office, Primus Family Law. She'll give you a copy of the book. Hello, no brainer. Bonnie.
Loan. We're not allowed to give.
Loan. Slide a little money on the desk. Maybe she'll let you have it. I don't know.
I hope everyone's enjoyed this as much as we have.
We love this.
We have so much fun. Bonnie, where's your office located?
My office is in Mission Valley. It's on Camino del Rio South. We offer a free 30-minute phone consultation. We try to keep ourselves right in the mainstream of what is right and reasonable for our clients, but we will zealously advocate for all of your rights.
You keep it real.
We really do. Tiffany and I really care about our clients, their children, their families, and how best we can get them through this crazy thing of divorce with as little trauma drama as possible.
Save the trauma drama for your mama. Bonnie.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you like that?
I like that.
You can go to primusfamilylawgroup.com, find out more information about Bonnie and Tiffany. We're going to get Tiffany back in here one of these days. She's a busy lady.
She was at court. Some of us have to work for a living.
Duty calls. And you can check out more about Dr. Michael Mantell at drmichaelmantell.com, and that's Mantell with 2 L's. Bonnie Mantell is only 1 L. They are not related. Just
Not at all.
clear in the air. Thank you all so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure. I hope we taught you something today. This has been Real Talk San Diego, bringing you the business of life in America's finest city. Go love everyone. Have a great holiday season, and we'll catch you next time.
Happy
Thanks for watching.
holidays,
Happy
all.
holidays.